Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Tuesday, October 30th, 2018. The big news story this morning, Donald Trump going to Pittsburgh to remember the victims from this weekend shooting. And the part that's getting focused on about this story is that the town mayor and other elected officials are not going to meet with him. Donald Trump is not welcome. And understand, this is all a show of divisiveness, meant to work up different sides of the political aisle. Since Donald Trump took office, there's been mixed messages from the media about who Donald Trump is in regards to the Jewish people. If you look up the headlines from the time he was elected, there were stories that he was carrying Mein Kampf around with him. That's Hitler's book. But then there were other stories that he was the first Jewish president. You know, was he secretly Jewish? All of his children were married into Jewish families. You know, good relations with Netanyahu and Israel, travels over to Jerusalem on Jerusalem Day. So it depends on what news source you read from that gets you your perspective of how Donald Trump is in regards to Jewish people. And that's the way they want it. It's all about divide and conquer. So let's go to the desktop here, and I'm going to show you why this ritual is happening today on the Pittsburgh mayor's birthday, October 30th, 2018. In case you're new here, before we move on, we're going to talk about Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, and how by knowing this language, you can see through all media and government rituals. The biggest tragedy with my work is that it's not received by a lot of the truth community. They think it's just a bunch of hubbub, a bunch of nonsense. You know, I see my name posted on other people's channels, and people say, oh, that numbers guy that thinks everything's numbers. And it's just like, you mean the guy who's been proving for 5 years straight that these people do everything by the numbers? Again, intelligence. Some people have it, some don't. And a big part of intelligence is pattern recognition. So anyway, let's get into this. It's October 30th, 18, a date with 58 numerology, and it's Donald Trump showing in town. The man who won the 58th U.S. presidential election. And every time I say that, people say, no, oh, he's the 45th president. And I say, yeah, but some presidents have more than 2 terms. And if you just look it up, 2016 was the 58th U.S. presidential election. You know, like how Obama was number 44, but he didn't win the same election 2 times in a row. So that's why Trump's the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election, number 45. If you were paying attention, Donald Trump announced that he was running from the 58-story Trump Tower. And for Inauguration Day, he fired the man who had done it for many decades. You know, The Apprentice fired somebody, and he hired the 58-year-old Steve Ray. Inauguration Day also fell on a date with 58 numerology. But here we are on another date with 58 numerology. Trump showing up in Pittsburgh, a town that happens to have 58 Gematria. And if you're new to Gematria, it's as simple as A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. It's based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards. See the book in my description. You read the first 2 chapters of that book, you'll be a world ahead of where you are right now. In more ways than one. So anyway, 58 numerology, Mr. 58 Donald Trump shows up in Pittsburgh, and that's not where it ends. From his birthday to today is his 139th day of his age, 139. And that's funny because Freemasonry sums to 139 and 58. Again, Washington, D.C., named after the Freemason George Washington. Freemasonry has its headquarters for all of North America in Washington, D.C. These 2 ciphers, the difference between 139 and 58, the dark green cipher is the alphabetic order. So F is 6, R is 18, E's 5, E's 5, M's 13, A's 1, S is 19, so on. You just use the alphabetic order. Over here, the dark blue cipher, F is still 6, but where it changes is with R. R is the 18th letter. You take the numerology of 18. 1 plus 8 is 9, so R is 9. E still 5, E still 5. M, the 13th letter, you take the numerology of 13. 1 plus 3 is 4. Numerology is about making larger numbers into single-digit numbers. So M4, A becomes 1, S, the 19th letter, becomes 1, O, the 15th letter, becomes 6, N, the 14th, becomes 5, so on. R, 18 becomes 9, Y, 25 becomes 7. You add up all those digits, Freemasonry 58. So what a perfect ritual for Trump to show up in Pittsburgh on his 139th day of his age. Numbers we talk about all the time. And just in case you're new here, here's the 4 ciphers. The alphabetic order, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, the reverse alphabetic order, and the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. All of these numbers matter. America, 50, 50 states and 1,000,000 territories. America, 32, the nation established on a date with 32 numerology, July 4th, 1776. 139, that's the big Freemasonry number. America established by Freemasons. 49, that's the big Scottish Rite number. Scottish has that Gematria 49. Their headquarters in Washington. Washington 49. You see? Mathematical numbers, there's more to them. So anyway, lessons aside, just a reminder, Freemasonry 58, they're born out of the Rosicrucian order, Rosicrucian 58. In history, King James, who has a Bible named after him, was a Freemason and a Rosicrucian. He dropped dead at age 58. Full code's biblical, just another reminder. Biblical 58, we're going to be talking about how this synagogue shooting is part of a larger biblical riddle and contrived prophecy to come, which connects to August 11th, 2019, the date we've been talking about for months. Freemasonry's secrets are based in Solomon's temple, the first of the Jewish temples destroyed, King Solomon's temple. Freemasonry 58, Rosicrucian 58, Solomon's Temple 58, Secret Society 58. And not to get ahead of ourselves, but I want to remind you that from Trump's upcoming birthday in 2019 to Tisha B'Av, to remember the destruction of the two temples, that'll be 58 days later. And just as a reminder, Donald Trump is on the side of a shekel right now, where one half of it is his face and King Cyrus, and the other half is the third temple. Money is being raised in Israel right now to build the third temple with Donald Trump's face on the shekel that is raising the funds. Third temple 58, Herod's temple 58, Solomon's temple 58, Jerusalem 58, Freemasonry 58. Don't forget Trump number 58 was in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day. So from the October 27th shooting to Tisha B'Av, which will be August 10th and 11th of 2019, the day to remember the destruction of the two temples, exactly 41 weeks on the nose. And that's a big number in Zionist agenda in history. The word Zionist is 41. The last time we had a major Zionist attack in America, it was blamed on Al-Qaeda, 41. You know, they said the majority of hijackers were from Saudi Arabia, 41. Right now we have this Khashoggi story, his name 41. But the date of 9/11/2001, 9 plus 11 plus 20 plus 01, you do the math on that, that's a date with 41 numerology. And if you haven't been following my work on August 11th, 2019, it's all synced up with the 17-year anniversary of September 11th, which was the biggest anniversary to date. Go back and see my work on the 17-year anniversary of September 11th. You know what? Just real quick, we can review part of the reason that date was so important. The Pentagon construction started September 11th, 1941, which means that 2018, September 11th, the anniversary of that was 77 years. And remember, on September 11th, 2001, they said Flight 77 hit the Pentagon exactly 77 minutes after taking off. It took off at 8:20. It hit the Pentagon at 9:37. 77 minutes later, Flight 77. You can look up Washington, D.C.'s coordinates. It's on the 77th meridian. You can look up how tall the Pentagon is. It's 77 feet tall. Wikipedia about 3 months ago just changed the height of the Pentagon on their thing to 71 feet. But look around. The Pentagon is 77 feet tall. Wikipedia just changed the height. It's because we've been exposing this thing for 5 years. It's because I just put out a book exposing this. So they're trying to recreate history down the memory hole. That phrase from 1984. But the thing about September 11th is this. You write out September 11th, and our most pure of the four base ciphers, it sums to 77. So does World Trade Center. And remember the dancing Israelis who were arrested in New Jersey filming the attack? World Trade Center, September 11th, both 77. This year, September 11th, 2018, the 77-year anniversary of construction beginning on the Pentagon. Big number to the you-know-who's. Judaism, 77. Zionists, 77. People control the world with orchestrated theater, 77. It's no secret who runs Hollywood. Hollywood pumps the propaganda to the programs the masses. So anyway, from this synagogue shooting to Tisha B'Av is 41 weeks on the nose. Big old number with the Zionists. Today's date, also a date with 78 numerology. To date with 58 numerology, as we covered, 10 plus 30 plus 18, 58. You can also take out the date numerology a step further. 10 plus 30 plus 20 plus 18, 78. And if you missed my work on the shooting, that was the big old number with the shooting in light of it being the Tree of Life Synagogue. Again, the Tree of Life is mentioned in the 78th verse of Genesis, Genesis 3:2-2. And the Lord God said, behold, the man is become as one of us to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also the tree of life and eat and live forever. 78th verse of Genesis, mass shooting 78, Genesis 78, October 78, order out of chaos 78. In light of Freemasonry, Scottish Rite equals 78, the most Jewish branch of Freemasonry. Another big 78 gang are the Jesuits, Jesuit 78. You missed that whole Kavanaugh, how much he likes beer on the Jesuit Order's birthday testimony episode. It wasn't an accident that Kavanaugh, the Jesuit himself, on the Jesuit Order's birthday, while giving his testimony about how he wasn't responsible for drunken sexual assault, took the time to explain how much he's loved beer since he was 15 years old. No sane man would ever do that. All signs it's theater. And if you missed my work on Kavanaugh, you better check it out. It wasn't an accident that he was confirmed on the same day in history that Anita Hill came out against Clarence Thomas with sexual assault. By the way, he was confirmed on the day leaving 86 days left in the year. I guess we can just do it one more time for a reminder. Kavanaugh, 86. Thomas, 86. Anita Hill, 86. Sexual assault, 86. Kavanaugh confirmed on the same day that Anita Hill came out against Clarence Thomas, the day leaving 86 days left in the year. Again, every single thing done in this news is by this code. All of it. So anyway, here we are on the date with 78 numerology. Huge number in the ritual, which paid tribute to the verse about the tree of life. Just in case you don't know, in the King James Version and in the New International Version, the way the verse is coded, it sums to 322. Big number to Yale, Skull and Bones, the Masonic Order. Also the number that symbolizes the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Also the ancient mystery religions, which includes Kabbalah, where this practice of coding numbers into words comes from, which Freemasonry is based in. And Judaism in Satanic Gematria. The flip of 322 is 223, the number of the synagogue of Satan. We'll be talking about August 11th, the 223rd day of the year, which this is synced up with. So the mayor of Pittsburgh is Bill Peduto. And, you know, if you don't call him Bill and you call him by his first full name, William, couldn't help but notice how William Peduto synced up with Squirrel Hill, the neighborhood where this happened. William Peduto, 160-74. Squirrel Hill, 160-74. Robert Bowers, the accused shooter, 160-74. And William Peduto and Robert Bowers also have overlap in 3 of the 4 ciphers. William Peduto also sums to 191 like active shooter, also 74 like active shooter. Big number here. You know, they refer to this as an active shooter. They do in all these media shootings. In fact, look at that. Active shooter and William Peduto are the exact same in all 4 ciphers. That's something. So William Peduto, the sitting mayor, we see how all of these events are always synced up with the politicians, the governors, the mayors. You know, if you missed the September 19th shooting in Masontown, Pennsylvania, which I predicted before it even happened, said, watch this day, it's going to be busy with the false flags. Sure enough, it was. Multiple shootings in multiple places. We called all the governors that day, calling them out. But, you know, it's just par for the course. So here we go. William Peduto, today is his birthday, the day that he's getting the national news attention for rejecting the president who's in his town. He turned 54 years old today. That's a big number there with the Jesuit order. These are the different factions of the New World Order. The Zionists, the Jesuits. Masonry's connected to both, obviously. This is what the New World Order is. A bunch of Masonic secret alliances operating by things that most people don't have a clue about. such as Kabbalah, such as letters and numbers. So, Bill Peduto, what else jumps out about this guy? Well, when you call him Bill Peduto, just with the alphabetic order, our most simple ciphers, simple English gematria, Bill Peduto sums to 116. Now, does that not remind you of what they reported? 11 dead, 6 wounded. Isn't that interesting? 11 dead, 6 wounded. Bill Peduto, 116, which is also 911 upside down. And just with regards to the you-know-who's, I want to remind you, Orthodox equals 119, Star of David equals 119. They control the media that controls the mind's eye of the masses, all-seeing eye, 119. And don't forget, when you flip 116 upside down, it does become 911. Remember, Tisha B'Av is to remember the destruction of the 2 temples. And Tisha B'Av in Jewish gematria equals 911. 911, which is the 156th prime number, and false flag is 156. Now, it's also 33. When you write out 33, it sums to 156. So don't forget that everything for 911, the plan went into motion in 1968 when they made 911 the national emergency dialing code, when World Trade Center construction began, when George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones, when Space Odyssey 2001 came out, when the New York Jets in the world of rig sports won their only Super Bowl. Think about it. But there it is, 911, the 156th prime. Just saw that number show up big in the mail bombing ritual, which was more federal propaganda. So anyway, here's Bill Peduto. 11 dead, 6 injured, 11 the master number, 11 Sephiro on the Tree of Life. The 11th is the hidden Sephiro. Tree of Life, 11 Sephiro, 11 the master number. Just think about it, you guys. 11 dead at the Tree of Life shooting. In Jewish gematria, Squirrel Hill also sums to 611, the reflection of 116. You know, in Hebrew, you read right to left. So 116 is 611 in Hebrew. Also, as I mentioned, I heard the Rabbi Myers talk about how the Tree of Life has been there for 154 years, the Tree of Life in front of this synagogue. And I thought that was really interesting because there's things I know about that number. But then I also noticed that the name Bill Peduto, when you flip the alphabetic order around, equals 154. I said, how perfect. Bill Peduto, they keep mentioning 154. It's also a number connected to ritual sacrifice. It's also a number connected to King James, who has a Bible named after him, in light of all of this being biblical. And in light of Temple Mount being the target for August 11, 2019, you know, that's what the Jews call it, because once the Dome of the Rock collapses, they're going to build their 3rd temple there, which they're now raising money for. Temple Mount's also 154. Well, we've been talking about this number in the August 11, 2019 predictive programming. So now we see how this event syncs up with August 11, 2019, coming 41 weeks before Tisha B'Av, to remember the destruction of the temples. What else jumps out about Bill Peduto's name? Remember, we got 4 base ciphers. We've tackled the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, now the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Bill Peduto, 44, just like shooting. Like how the media reported that 4 people were shot upstairs and 4 were shot in the basement. That's why they reported that, just to get the 44 in there. Shooting 44, execution 44, gunfire 44, kill 44. Of course, 1027 was also a date with 37 numerology, shooting also 37. And then the last of the base ciphers with Bill Peduto, his name sums to 55. The date of the synagogue shooting, a date with 55 numerology. The rabbi who was there was 55. And I should have pointed out again that 55 is the big Satan number. And what do they call the false Jews in the end of the Bible? The synagogue of Satan. The people we call Jews in this world do not match the physical description of the Jews from the Bible. People with dark skin and hair of wool. Burnt brass skin. Who does that describe? Not Rabbi Myers. Not at all. Just looking at the surname of the mayor, Peduto, in the 2 reduction base ciphers, 2 of our 4 base ciphers, Peduto sums to 27, like the shooting being on the 27th. His name also has a lot of overlap with ritual, perfect overlap in 3 of the 4 ciphers. Don't overlook that ritual's 45 because They're running more rituals with Donald Trump than they have with any other president. Number 45. Don't forget the Berlin Wall equals 45. Donald Trump announces the 45th president-elect on the anniversary of the fall of the wall. See what else jumps out about his full name here, the mayor? William Mark Peduto. You see that 77? We just talked about this with September 11th. Judaism 77, Zionist 77, theater 77. For some others, police department 77, police officer 77, United States 77, power 77. Special number there. Not a coincidence the nation's capital is on the 77th meridian west. William Peduto, again, 74, like Masonic, like Jewish, like Gematria, like English, like killing. A lot of things jump about this man's name. So here's the article. The mayor, other local officials, they will not show up with Trump, all playing their part in working up and dividing the nation. That's the agenda. Keep us divided, keep us hating each other, not seeing the agenda being waged against every last one of us. The majority of Americans, what do we do? You gotta take a drink of tea while you think about it. What do we do? How many Americans, when they sit and they complain about this nation, say, man, it's the Zionists and they're treating us like animal goyim from the Talmud and they're overworking us and they're overtaxing us. You don't hear anybody talk like this. You hear people go, man, it's those liberals. Oh, it's those dumb conservatives. It's those red state hicks. It's those blue state educated morons. That's what it is in America. Right, left. This is where everybody's stuck in the box. You go in the truth community. Look at what the majority of the truth community does. They still keep it on the already programmed right-left bent. People get mad at me because I expose how that's all a fraud. That's all a fraud, that whole right-left thing. Two different brands of rhetoric in Washington, D.C., one brand of policy, following the Zionist cabal, following what Israel wants. Sending Israel over $10 million a day. Why isn't that everyone's talking point in America? That we send over $10 million a day to a tiny little nation. A nation that uses all that money to bomb its brown neighbors. See, in America, people don't care, though, because they're programmed. They like Israel. They don't like brown people. That's part of the programming. That programming has to be broken. It has to be broken. So let's go through some more information. Again, 58 is the big number today for the synagogue shooting. 58 is going to be the big number on August 11, 2019, a date with 58 numerology, 58 days after Trump's birthday. When it's Tisha B'Av, to remember the destruction of the two temples, while right now there's a shekel for sale. And here's the most awesome thing about this shekel with Trump's face and the third temple on the other side. Wow, I just noticed that in Jewish Gematria. I had never noticed that before. That's why sometimes it's good to have extra ciphers up here just to look at them. But okay, the shekel with Trump's face went on sale on the 102nd day of this year, April 12th, 2018. That's the date the shekel went on sale for Trump and the third temple to raise money for the third temple. The reason it's awesome that it's 138 in Jewish Gematria is because Donald Trump with the alphabetic order is 138. Federal's 138 when you flip the alphabetic order around. We began today saying that today's Trump's 139th day of his age, the big Freemasonry number, which is true. But another way to say it is today is 138 days after Trump's birthday. How about that? No wonder they got this guy on a shekel to build the third temple. So anyway, again, 58 days before Tisha B'Av, and all of these things 58. Third Temple, Herod's Temple, Solomon's Temple, Jerusalem, Freemasonry, Secret Society, Donald Trump the winner of the 58th U.S. presidential election in Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day. That was in 2017, May 22nd. The dates of Tisha B'Av, August 10th, that will be Trump's 58th day of his age in 2019. August 11th will be 58 days after his birthday. Reminder, August 11th, the 223rd day of the year, leaving 142 days remaining. And the Synagogue of Satan 223, Masonic 223. 223, the 48th prime. If you haven't heard about the red heifer in Israel, it's what foreshadows the coming destruction of the Dome of the Rock and the building of the third temple and the arrival of the Jewish Messiah through the Golden Gate. All things that are circulating in world media. Speaking of 223, speaking of 223, the White House confirmed the moving of the embassy to Jerusalem on what date? February 23rd. February 23rd, 223. That's the 54th day of the year, like how the mayor turned 54 years old today in Pittsburgh. I want to remind you that Jesuit order equals 54. It's the Jesuits that have revised history and made Temple Mount, the Dome of the Rock, the important biblical space. There's no proof that the first or the second temple existed where the Dome of the Rock now does, which is the common belief in Judaism, which was created a belief by the Catholic Church, where again, inside the Jesuit order are the operatives. Story is that at the end of the Crusades, the Knights Templar recovered this code from Kabbalah and brought it back to the Catholic Church, where it then spread throughout the world. So, with regards to August 11th, Tisha B'Av, and the Third Temple and the Jewish Messiah arriving through the Golden Gate, the current mayor of San Francisco is London Breed. She's the 45th mayor of San Francisco. She replaced Ed Lee, who was murdered by the numbers. She's going to turn 45 years old August 11th, 2019. Golden Gate in Gematria is 45 forwards and backwards, just like Holy Bible. Again, all of this stuff is biblical prophecy by the numbers. Think about the bridge in San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge, 45. London Breed, born in 74. London 74. Masonic 74. Jewish 74. Think about London's role in establishing the Zionist state of Israel. Big role. Another thing to talk about. Remember this Grim Reaper story we talked about? The viral image of the Grim Reaper that got 10 million plus views in 48 hours? That came on the day leaving 160 days left in the year. Grim Reaper 160. We just talked about how Squirrel Hill equals 160. Robert Bowers 160. The mayor who's participating in this ritual 160. This number obviously has some greater significance to them. And what we also talked about is from how the day that this image went viral, July 24th, 2018, to August 11th, 2019, the date that the 45th mayor turns 45 years old, where Golden Gate equals 45 forwards and backwards. From the viral image date to August 11th, 2019 is 383 days. That's 54 weeks and 5 days. London Breed equals 54 forwards and backwards, by the way, the reflection of 45. That's also 1 year and 18 days, like 118, like August 11th, 11/8. What else is a trip is if you write out August 11th, 2019, the date, it equals 383, just like 383 days. 383 is the 76th prime number, San Francisco 76, where the mayor is, where the Golden Gate Bridge is. The man who posted this viral image also had the Gematria like New World Order, which corresponded with the date numerology. Who do you think put out the viral image that got 10 million views in 2 days? Imagine if my work got 10 million views in 2 days. I think we could change the world. But the New World Order, they control the internet. They control what goes viral. They control what gets squashed, like my content. 2 months ago, all of my videos were getting 10,000 plus views. I had multiple videos in a 1 month period get over 200,000 and 100,000 views. Since then, I've been averaging 2,000 views a video. What do you think happened? I got the permanent squash button put on my channel. That's why everybody comes here and says, hey, I didn't get a notification for this. Yeah, almost nobody gets a notification for this channel anymore. That's how you know you're being censored. That's why this work's pretty futile right now. It's not reaching nearly enough people. I'm spinning the wheels. It's not getting out. All the shill channels getting the traction, That's how it works on YouTube. By the way, construction started on the Golden Gate Bridge on a date with 58 numerology. What a coincidence. It's going to turn 86 years old from construction start in 2019. Almost there. For another August 11th, Al-Qaeda created in history on August 11th. Been showing how August 11th, 2019, 11 months after the anniversary of September 11th, the 17-year anniversary, the very important number. The Synagogue of Satan, 223. August 11th, the 223rd day of the year. August 11th leaves 142 days remaining. Terrorist, 142. What a day to start a terrorist organization funded by the CIA, which our government's actually always clued us into. Other things going on August 11th, 2019. It is the pilgrimage where Muslims make their way to Mecca. Remember the other year when a crane fell on Mecca on September 11th? Just a coincidence. Also, August 11th, 2019 on the Muslim calendar is the Day of Sacrifice. Day of Sacrifice. Also interesting, Jared Kushner is going to turn 38 years old at the beginning of 2019. From his birthday to August 11th, 213 days. Look up media headlines. There's plenty of headlines saying that Jared Kushner could be the Jewish Messiah. Funny stuff. But anyway, from his birthday, his 38th, to Destruction Day, 213 days later, Dome of the Rock 213. It's also 7 months and 1 day, Temple 71, Talmud 71. Don't forget, Jared Kushner equals 134 like Tisha B'Av, like 9th of Av, and his birthday couldn't be any more synced up with the 9th of Av. And just understand, if they didn't destroy the Dome of the Rock on August 11th, 2019, what percentage of the world would be clued into the fact that that came on Tisha B'Av to remember the destruction of the two temples? First of all, 99% of the public has no idea what Tisha B'Av is. They also don't know anything about the history of the two temples. You know, they also don't have the wherewithal to do any research. They're just going to watch what's on the media that day and whatever's presented. If they blame it on a boogeyman in a cave, you know, named Bobama bin Bobbin, you know, they'll believe it. They won't even question it. You know, if they blame it on a radical Christian, they won't blame it. If they blame it on a sect of Islam, they won't question it. They won't do any research. They won't know any of these rituals. This is why you can do things to people who have no clue about anything. People who just believe everything that's told to them from the authority. That's the world we live in. Those of us who question and do research, we're considered crazy. We're conspiracy theorists, you know. We need to get a life. We need to go watch more Hollywood movies and buy more sports tickets and shop more at the mall, you know. Because this is what we're supposed to do as Americans, right? As people of the New World Order. We're supposed to be happy consumers. If we have bad feelings, we should go to the pharmacy and get some happy pills. You know? Also, I forgot to cover this angle. Donald Trump in Israel for Jerusalem Day. Jerusalem Day, Make America Great Again, both 134, like Tisha B'Av, like 9th Av. By the way, 9th of Av is just the English way of saying Tisha B'Av. They're the same thing. Tisha B'Av's on the 9th day of the Jewish month Av. Same thing. So, but I did forget to cover. I forgot to cover it. Here, I'll just show you right here. Jerusalem Day 2017. Trump was there on May. Hold on. I know what it was. Trump arrived in Jerusalem on May 22nd. He stayed there for May 23rd, and then he went to the Vatican May 24th. So I guess Trump technically went to the wall the day before Jerusalem Day officially, but Trump was in Jerusalem for May 22nd and May 23rd. He was at the Vatican on May 24th. I remember that very well because that's the 144th day of the year. Remember the picture where they all looked like they were dressed for a funeral? Ivanka and Melania. By the way, Melania is another 134. Ivanka's a 58. But she's also 104 like Jerusalem. That's interesting. And like British. Anyway, here's what I wanted to show you. From May 22nd, the date that Trump went to the Western Wall, which is right by the site of where they're going to build the third temple, to August 11th, 2019, that's 811 days later. 811. Like how we in the US write the date August 11th, 8/11. Look how perfect that is. And the thing about 811, just in case you haven't seen me talk about this before, is it's the 141st prime number. The 141st prime. Now remember, the prophecy of the Golden Gate and the Third Temple are connected. And when you think of Golden Gate, you got to think of San Francisco, right? San Francisco, California, 141, the 45th mayor turning 45 years old on this date, August 11th, 8/11, the 141st prime. You see how this all comes together? I can't help but notice that San Francisco, California equals 102 in light of the shekel going on sale on the 102nd day of the year, April 12th, either. You know? Remember, the whole prophecy of the red heifer comes back to the number 202 as well. San Francisco also 202. So there's just so many overlaps and riddles. But here's the other thing about the day Trump went to the Western Wall, May 22nd. It's the 142nd day of the year, leaving 223 days remaining, right? August 11th is the exact opposite. August 11th is the 223rd day of the year, leaving 142 days remaining. You see? These dates have relationships. That's why they had Trump go there the day that he did. And coming back to Kushner, who's going to be 38 years old. Remember, death is 38 and 213. If they destroy the Dome of the Rock, they destroy the Golden Gate Bridge. No matter what they do that day for their symbolism, there's obviously going to be death and destruction. Consider Kushner's birthday is also January 10th, 1/10, like how the World Trade Centers were 110 stories tall, buildings 1 and 2. Building 7 was 47 floors tall. But 1/10 is a lot like 110. Prophecy 110, prophecy also 38, Kushner's age. That's why you got to know the base ciphers. He's at 666 Fifth Avenue. It's prophecy in Jewish Gematria. The evil side of Kabbalah is this word right here. 666. This is the evil side of Kabbalah. Ed Lee, the mayor who died for London Breed to take over. And just as another reminder, The Simpsons, known for their predictive programming, they got the XXX. X is the 24th letter. The numerology of 24 is 2 plus 4 is 6. So XXX is 666, the prophecy thing. This cartoon that they did is about the apocalypse cow. They did it in season 19. Remember, the Quran code is centered around the number 19. The Quran code came out in 68, the same year the 911 plan went into motion. The number 19 symbolizes chaos. We're talking about August 11th, 2019. Episode number 17. We're talking about how this is going to come after the 17-year anniversary of 9/11. 17 years and 11 months later. 17, special number. Mason 17. Kill 17. Modern Masonry began in 1717. El, the Jewish god in Gematria, sums to 17. God's also 17. But anyway, this cartoon, it came out in 2008, a leap year. April 27th in a leap year is the 118th day of the year. And it's about the cow of prophecy that foreshadows this great destruction from Revelation, the same thing that the red heifer is about. April 27th, 118th day of the year in leap years, which 2008 was. 11/8, August 11th. And South Park also did a cartoon, Ginger Cow. Before I go to South Park, I should let you know that the writer, did I put it on here? Temple Mount, this cartoon was also called Apocalypse Cow, which has the same gematria as Temple Mount, which we've been talking about. The writer for The Simpsons has the 223 gematria, like Synagogue of Satan, like how August 11th is the 223rd day of the year. And we know that The Simpsons are known for their predictive programming. But also South Park did an episode called Ginger Cow about this same topic. And the thing about Ginger Cow is it sums to 142, like terrorist, like how August 11th leaves 142 days left in the year. Same thing about the cow of prophecy, the red heifer. And I'm not sure that I left. If you come to my blog and oh, here it is. So remember, this is how it all began. This is how we got clued into August 11th, 2019 to start. All of this media was circulating this story about the red heifer being born and how it foreshadows the end times and the third temple and the Jewish Messiah that's supposed to rule forever. And we noticed how all of these things were coding 202. So notice red heifer in Jewish Gematria is 202. Notice things like the end is near. This emphasized born in Israel in 2,000 years fulfills prophecy. Hold on, where did I put it here? The end is near 202. End of the world 202. Born in Israel in 200 years. Well, I think it's supposed to be 2,000, but it won't make a difference because it's a zero. Born in Israel in 2,000 years fulfills prophecy 202. They were coding this number, right? So I had to think about it. When this first happened, I was like, why are they coding 202? And I had to think for a minute. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Tisha B'Av this year, to remember the destruction of the two temples, in light of this story being connected to the history of the temples, Tisha B'Av this year fell on July 21st, which is the 202nd day of the year. And Tisha B'Av, with the English extended cipher, which pays tribute to Hebrew Gematria, sums to 721. Every 19 years, which is in tune with the moon, Tisha B'Av falls on July 21st. Every 19 years. So if you go back to 1999, Tisha B'Av was on July 21st. If you go back 19 years before that to 1980, Tisha B'Av was on July 21st. If you go back 19 more years to 61, etc. And I was watching this year before it happened. If you weren't following me, I predicted that there would be false flag shootings on July 21st and July 22nd, and there were. Every year on Tisha B'Av, there's tragedies in the news if you pay attention. And it's a day to remember tragedy. The July 21st this year was the Trader Joe's hostage shooting situation in LA, and July 22nd was the mass shooting in Toronto the next day. Predicted these before they happened, so circle these dates. Just like September 19th, I said circle those dates. Just like September 7th, I said, watch there be a celebrity death. Because when you know how these calendars are being used for rituals, you can see the news before it happens very often. July 21st is also the day leaving 163 days left in the year, which is the 38th prime. Jew equals 38. Kabbalah equals 38. Death equals 38. So anyway, we've covered a lot about what will be going on August 11, 2019. I have a playlist on this. We've been talking about it for months now. Look at this headline right here. Prophecy fulfilled after red cow was born at Temple of Israel. If you read this thing, it says how it foreshadows what Christians call the rapture. This article came on September 9th, 9/9. So anyway, no doubt in light of the ongoing agenda, this temple shooting is also connected to their upcoming planned date. They got August 11th, 2019. By the way, this red cow was supposedly born September 4th, which is the day leaving 118 days left in the year, which again is like August 11th, 11/8. Don't forget this either. Sacred 112, Zionist 112, Donald 112, Mathematics 112. I see what word I forgot to put up there. Judaism 112. Got too many windows open. Where was it at? The Balfour Declaration, which promised to deliver the Zionist state of Israel, was drafted on 11/2, November 2nd. Made out to a Zionist banker, Rothschild. But I think we've covered all the main points here. And here's how many floors are on Trump Tower. 58, where Trump announced he was running. So going over the notes here, see if there's any other things we need to talk about. Oh yeah, this cow of prophecy born on September 4th. Date also was 74 Gematria to go with Jewish Messiah, Jesus cross. Again, this foreshadows the Jewish Messiah coming. All these things 74. And like I said, the day Donald Trump was announced president-elect, I said the Trump-Pence ticket is a tribute to Revelation and the trumpets, the warnings. Now they're saying the prophecy of Revelation is coming true with the red heifer. Notice Holy Bible, 45 forwards and backwards. Trump, number 45. Trump-Pence, Donald J. Trump. That's Gematria 49, also like Revelation. So, it's not an accident. If you missed the work we did the other night on the deaths in Trump's family that also foreshadowed his scripted presidency, something I wrote a book about, but there's always more to the riddle. Trump was foreshadowed as the president for decades, born and bred to be. And remember, all these presidents are puppets. And on that breath, Barack Hussein Obama, he's going to turn 58 years old 7 days before August 11th, 2019. He's going to be the magic number just in time, too. So, not an accident. Let me go out to the chat. I'll talk to you guys for a moment. And then for people who hung around, I think I'm going to try to call the mayor's office here in Pittsburgh and see if they know anything about the active shooter drills and the coincidences with that. So let me see what's going on in the chat. Maybe somebody's got a good observation here. I see we got 139 likes. That's not bad, but there's over 300 people watching. So what's the excuse of the other people? Oh, I forgot to look at the Fergie connection. I will. I'll remember now. I'll do the Fergie connection. We already know what it is, right? She has the London Bridge song. Golden State's right there in the Bay Area with the Golden Gate Bridge. But I'm sure there's more. The telephone number adds up to 147, huh? The Freemason conspiracy number, the master builder number. All right, here, let's just do it in real time real quick. Since we're talking about all this, let's just do it. Fergie birthday. Let me just see what's going on here. Because I need to have some details. Fergie Remix Challenge, internet's newest dance craze. Josh Duhamel, Golden State Warriors feud over Fergie's national anthem explained. The Golden State Warriors danced to a remix of Fergie's national anthem. Okay, so did they remix the national anthem and Fergie sung to it? What day did this happen? This happened October 27th? Well, the news was that day. The Golden State Warriors are the pettiest team in the NBA, and if you needed more proof, just look at the way they collectively responded to actor Josh Duhamel's recent interview, where he defended her wife. Fergie's national. Does that sentence? That doesn't sound right. Where he defended her wife, Fergie's national anthem performance at the 2000. Oh, this was at the 2018 All-Star game. And Draymond Green was kind of a prick, Magic Johnson's son. Let's see. So this happened at the 2018 All-Star game, but it's just now being brought up, huh? Okay, so it looks like this became an issue October 26th, which was a date with 74 numerology, 10 plus 26 plus 20 plus 18. Gotta love the 221 post time. Wait, here. I'd have to go back and do research because I don't know what day this thing started. But I see that it goes back to the date of the All-Star game for 2018. What day was that? 2018 NBA All-Star game. Sometime in February, right? February 18th. Another 218. That's the that's the 49th day of the year. Okay, so it's the 49th day of the year. So, all right. So think about this. Warriors in our most pure cipher is 49. The Warriors are originally from Philadelphia, the city named from Revelation 49. So, okay. So 49th day of the year. They're connecting this to the Warriors because Draymond Green was laughing. Fergie sang the London Bridge song, the mayor of San Francisco's London Breed, which sounds like London Bridge. Hold on. 2018. Let's just look at what it is from our date that's in question, August 11, 2019, the day that London Breed turns 45. 540 days later. That's interesting because London Breed in our two reduction-based ciphers is 5454. London Breed. London Bridge. Fergie. 77 weeks. What happens when you write out 77? 77, 49. You know, home of the 49ers, San Francisco, the 49ers, the NFL team. So, okay, that's interesting. We had Donald Trump send out the emergency presidential alert at 2:18 Eastern time. Trump equals 218 in all caps in Francis Bacon Gematria. We got Zenith of the Alpha for years exposing Trump in 218 code. I got to think more about it. How about Fergie's birthday? Did she factor in? Fergie birthday. They didn't have her sing the song London Bridge by accident. So her birthday is the 86th day of the year. 31 days in January, 28 in February, plus 27 more. That's 86. We were just talking about how the not the London Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge is going to, from start of construction, will be 86 years old in 2019. I'm sure you're familiar with the term 86 to get rid of. Symbol equals 86. We talked about that a moment ago. What's the name Fergie equal? Fergie's 50 like San Francisco, 41 like Zionists. Don't forget how San Francisco hosted the golden anniversary of the Super Bowl. On the 38th day of the year, where Gold's 38, and the team from the 38th state, Colorado, won. Called all that in October. Even who'd be the MVP and why there'd be a Black Panther tribute. What two teams would play? We nailed Super Bowl 50 like no other. It's too easy to see. But did I measure from her birthday? Do that already? Here, let's see. How old is she going to be? She's going to turn in 2019. She'll turn 44 years old. Let's see. March 27th, 2019 to our date in question. What's that? 138 days. We talked about that number a little bit. It's also 137 days later, which is the 33rd prime. Got to think about how that might connect to the Golden Gate Bridge in bigger ways. So yeah, I'm sure there's something there, and I'm sure it is all about her London Bridge song. Jeremy makes a good point about the Klay Thompson. If you guys missed my video on Klay Thompson's record yesterday, that's on Gematria Effect Sports. You definitely want to check that out. It'll blow your mind. Somebody says they love the viewer to like ratio. It's not bad. It's about 2 viewers per like. It could be better. It could be 100%. I've never seen it before. You know what I realize, you guys? You know what I really need to start doing again? But if I do it again, I need to be real. I need to not get carried away like I always do. I need to have like a small stash of weed and smoke like once a week. Because whenever I hadn't smoked weed in forever. And then I was hanging out with my buddy who lives up here who has weed. So I took like a little, God, it's funny when you don't smoke forever how your lungs become like virgin lungs again. I took this little toke and I thought I was going to die for a minute. God, my lungs hurt. But anyway, just right after I smoked, I started having all these really creative ideas. I was like, God, this is the beauty of weed. You just get all this creativity. You think about all these things that you otherwise overlook. So I got to figure out how to start smoking weed once a week and get those creative thoughts back. Five. So Jacon or Jacon, I don't know how you pronounce your name, but you're observing this 555 thing. We talked about this in Gematria school. Hey, by the way, tonight's Gematria school, if you want to sign up for Patreon, $11 a month gets you all the content and access to Gematria school every Tuesday night. $1 a month gets you access to Gematria school on the last Tuesday of every night, which is tonight. So if you sign up for $1, you can get in. But this is what's up with 555. So look, I'm going to get rid of all the ciphers except for the most pure cipher. N is the 14th letter, right? The numerology of 14 is 5. So N is 5, E is 5, W is the 23rd letter. The numerology of 23 is 5. So N, E, and W are your 555 letters. Notice, 555. What world order are we living under? You know? This is why they like this number. The New World Order, they're Freemasons. 5 is the number of creation. They're builders. You know, these days they don't build, well, they still build buildings, but this day it's more about building propaganda and stories to control the masses in their mind's eye. That's the thing they're building. Their master plan these days are well-constructed propaganda. Or is it even well-constructed? I don't even know if you can call that. I mean, it is for the cattle, but for those with eyes to see, it's a joke. Somebody says, get the weed butter. I don't like eating edibles. Edibles, they don't give me the same. It's not the same as when you smoke. I'm more creative when I smoke. When I get the edibles, I just want to melt into the couch and do nothing. So, no, I don't agree with the weed butter. Yeah, I covered the Gaza bombings. That was on 10/27. 10 plus 27 is 37. Israel's 37. Netanyahu's 37. It was covered up with the shootings 37. So, yeah, we covered the Gaza bombings on that day. Covered it a few times now. Now we've covered it a 4th time. I told you guys the other day that when I got to 950 subscribers, I was going to start doing the daily podcast on the Patreon page. And since then, we've lost about 20 people. So we're down even less, which is okay. I think a lot of people are dropping off at the end of the month, so they don't have to pay for it. But get those 20 people back, be pumping out even more content. I'll be working even harder. Craig said he's been reading the book and doing decode since 3 a.m. Eastern. Man, get some sleep, brother. Means you've been going for 8 hours straight. No, I'm not into vaping. I see that question out there. I'm not into vaping. Somebody said that somebody was impressed by my Week 8 NFL picks. They were very good. But he said the moment he showed somebody how I got the picks, then they rolled their eyes and they didn't care anymore. Again, you guys, again, I think out of all the holy texts in the world, I think that the most important is the Talmud, because I think it's the most true. As much as I despise the Zionists, they are smarter by a lot than the average person. And I'll say it again. I was raised Lutheran. Nobody's Jewish in my family, but my dad doesn't know who his dad is. And it's no secret that in my appearance, I do look a little bit Jewish. And I'd guess that if I got a DNA test, I'd find out that in my DNA that I am, genetically a percentage of these people. And that might be where my intelligence comes from. No doubt the Zionist cabal is much smarter than the masses, which is why they call them Goyim cattle. I mean, I can't help but agree with them. Look at the masses, how dumb they are. How dumb do you have to be to not see that sports are rigged? You have to be really dumb. Really dumb. And of course, my words are offending people right now. Sorry, I'm just speaking facts. How dumb do you have to be to fall for the lies of 9/11? You have to be so dumb. It's like impossible for me to explain, but I experience it everywhere. I've seen it since the day it happened. 9/11 didn't fool me for 1 second. I just saw it and I said, well, that's an obvious lie. How dumb do you got to be to fall this? How dumb do you got to be to still think that you live in a democracy in America after what happened in 2000? I mean, how dumb do you got to be? King George II, it comes down to the state where his brother's the governor. I mean, all of this stuff is just so pathetic. Right after the 9/11 and the Patriot Act, the greatest team ever is the New England Patriots. I mean, how dumb do you got to be? I can't express it enough. Talmud's the truest book ever written. The masses are retarded. They are goyim cattle. Period. Period. End of discussion. So, well, in past videos, I mean, I was high in almost every single video. I mean, the videos I made from 2014 to, I don't know, whenever I stopped smoking at the end of 2016, what was it, September, August? I forget now. I mean, I would say in at least 90% of those videos, I was high. So I smoke weed every day. I used to. Yeah, now Monsanto and big corporations are taking over the weed industry. It's true. That's part of the reason I don't want to smoke weed anymore either. I don't even know where this weed's coming from anymore. And it's hard to grow organic weed anymore unless you can grow it indoors. I mean, even if you're growing weed outside in your garden patch, it's getting sprayed with the chemical crap coming down, and who knows what that is. That's what makes me sad. There's a right next to my house. There's actually a large plot of land that's for sale for a reasonable price. And I was thinking that if revenue keeps coming in from this work, I might make an offer on it just to grow food. But then I was like, do I even really want to grow food? Everything's getting sprayed. I mean, if I grow food, I don't even know what it's getting contaminated by. But then at the same time, it's like, well, I guess all the food in the world right now that's getting grown is probably getting sprayed. Got to make sure you watch your fruits and veggies before you eat them. Some of that good organic cleaner. Well, somebody who said I could tell you were a stoner, you got the look. But you can't tell that I'm a stoner from that because my eyes always look this way. Even when I'm not high, my eyes look this way. Like here, let me put the camera on me. My eyes, the way my eyes are, they're just not, they're always, partially closed. That's just the way they are genetically. Literally in high school, 420, when people would be, the weed holiday, I would have teachers who would be questioning me. One year I even got sent down to the principal's office to get looked at, and I was like, I'm not smoking any weed. I'm not dumb enough to smoke and be in class right now. But it's just how my eyes are. And normally right now the thing's boosted, so normally I'm looking down even more at the camera, and then it makes my eyes even look more closed. But part of the thing is my if I open my eyes wide, then they're open. But my eyelashes are long too, so it also makes my eyes look more closed. But no, you can't tell that I'm high from my eyes. I look the same if I'm smoking weed or if I'm not smoking weed. So that's a common misconception. You cannot tell if I'm high by looking at me, but you'll assume I'm high all the time just by the way my eyes look. So where did my chat go? Here it is. There's a favorite question. Are you related to L. Ron Hubbard? So my dad, he doesn't know who his dad is. And his mom, she has several sons. They all have different dads. And the brother who was born after him, she was temporarily married to that man, and his last name was Hubbard, and he became my dad's adoptive father. So that's where we get the name Hubbard from. We're not actually related bloodline to anybody named Hubbard. So my dad doesn't know what his real dad's last name is. Yeah, we know Chigozi Truth's high in every video. We know that. The ability to enslave is not intelligent, somebody writes. Yeah, it is. If you can enslave other people, it's because you're more intelligent than them. That is intelligence. That's greater intelligence than the people you've enslaved. The thing about the Zionist cabal is they're smart and they're cruel and they're ruthless. And they don't care about other people. Makes it easy for them to achieve their gain. Am I a believer in the simulation theory? Anything's possible, but that's not what I think is going on. What I think is going on is just, people are operating by a system of repetitive numbers. A lot of people come across my work, they're like, you've proved the simulation theory. This is how it's all done. I'm just like, I don't think so. I don't feel like my life's being simulated. I feel like my life's being controlled and dictated, and tyrants are having a massive influence over it, but I don't feel like I'm living in a simulation. I feel like I have free will and I could do whatever I wanted in this moment. Like I could just turn off the button right now, just end the live stream if I wanted to, and go eat a bag of Cheetos and watch a movie. I don't want to do that. I think the matrix of the world we live in programs a lot of people's minds to just want to live like that, do things that are fun and easy, and put chips in their mouth, and but if it's a simulation, then we have no free will. We're just going through the motions we were born into. And at the same time, I do think that there's an organic side of this code, and I think there is actually an organic matrix of numbers that we've talked about this. It's in the last chapter of my book, but I don't think that that's simulating our life. I think it's having influence, but it's not like we're a robot just living each day as we're programmed. And in that same breath, again, I think the tyrants are trying to program us to be robots. So you're either going along with the programming or you're not. But no, I don't think we're living out a simulation. Jimmy Day says, been smoking for 40 years, and the only thing I lost is my mind control. And I completely agree with that statement. I think for a lot of people, smoking weed or doing hallucinogenic drugs will help them break out of the mind control that's programmed by the New World Order. Consider it's the New World Order that, bombards young children with, don't smoke weed, this is your brain on drugs. There's definitely an unhealthy side to drug use. I mean, there's addicts who have destroyed lives, but not all drug use is negative. Marijuana can stir up creativity. Marijuana can be used as a medicine. And then things like magic mushrooms. Magic mushrooms are amazing when you take the right dose. If you take too many magic mushrooms, it'll probably be the worst day of your life. You'll probably feel sick. You'll probably be super paranoid. You take the right dose of magic mushrooms, your mind will operate in a place it hasn't before. You'll see things the way you never seen them. Magic mushrooms and the psilocybin within can be used to cure all sorts of ailments. You might have a problem your entire life that you've never been able to overcome. You take some magic mushrooms, and all of a sudden your mind can overcome that, whether it's public speaking or getting along with a sibling or whatever. There's all sorts of things that magic mushrooms can help you overcome. Joyce writes, weed slows you down. Well, Joyce, that depends on what kind of weed you smoke. Indica will slow you down. Indica will make you want to melt into the couch and just chill out. Sativa doesn't do that. Sativa will speed up your mind. Sativa will make you think even more. That's where the creativity comes from. And indica can help with that too. But you got to know about marijuana. Most people aren't educated. They think all weed's the same. They don't realize how different strains are. There's hybrid strains that get a little bit of both qualities. So I'm very well informed on marijuana. I used to be a medical retailer. There's also, of course, there's CBD, which doesn't really get you high. It's for the pain. Jigan says all you need to do to enslave people is murder. And I agree. The Zionist cabal, a lot of their thing is murder, war and killing their enemies. But they do more than murder. I mean, don't just say that all they do is murder. These people have developed technology. They've figured out the ways to control the masses. All sorts of gimmicks. They become smarter than the rest of humanity. And it's plain I don't know who could argue that the Zionist cabal isn't smarter than the rest of humanity. How do they not have everybody under their thumb? They do. They got everybody slaving for their money. They got everybody, submitting to their programming. They got everybody, obsessed with their Hollywood and their entertainment and their sports leagues. They got it all. So I don't know where anyone could disagree. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I want to destroy these people. I want to expose them for what they are. And I've been trying to do that for 5 years, but I realize even exposing them as well as I do, it doesn't for most people, it can't even touch the level of mind control they have. Like the person who just said, they thought my picks, they showed my work to somebody and said, wow, those picks are really impressive. And they go, how did he do it? And then he shows them, he goes, oh, that's stupid. To them, it's stupid the way the world is controlled and orchestrated with evidence. So don't say things like I've taken 30 grams of magic mushrooms before, that's the right dose, because it's just an ignorant statement. You have to know things about magic mushrooms. 30 grams of certain doses would kill you. Certain types of magic mushrooms are way more potent than others. There's certain types of magic mushrooms you just need 1 gram. You take 30 grams of those type, you might die. So you got to be educated when you speak about things like, drugs. Magic mushrooms aren't really drugs. All these things have been classified as drugs. They're plants, really. Well, mushrooms are actually like a fungus, a bacteria with intelligence. But Ron Walker's in the chat. He calls me a saint. I don't know about that. I'm not dead yet. And I'm not Catholic. But Ron Walker, that's another great commenter in the chat. Normally, he's not complimenting me. Normally, he's just doing brilliant decodes. He knows a lot about Stanley Kubrick. Vera writes, mind-altering drugs, RX. I think she means prescription drugs. Will keep you enslaved and make dealers rich. What do I think about atheists? I actually like talking to atheists because, atheism is just another religion, right? It's the religion that God doesn't exist, even though there's no evidence for that either. So it's another belief system. But these are the points I like to make to atheists. Say, well, you're no different than the believer. You can't prove your point either. And they'll say, well, I've never seen God come down. I've never seen. And I say, yeah, it doesn't prove that God doesn't exist. I mean, you're making the assumption that you'd have to see God with your own eyes. So, and then, you can always ask those type of people. It's like, well, why do you believe so much in things like Big Bang Theory? Well, why is that so believable? That everything came out of an explosion? And then when they start explaining this, also you'll say, so you believe in the authority, you believe in the scientific authority and what's written in the text. And then you can start to ask them things, like, because most people don't know things. You can say, okay, so you believe science so much. I said, have you ever heard of Piltdown Man? Almost no one's ever heard of Piltdown Man. Look up Piltdown Man. Piltdown Man was used as a fraud of evolution for 41 years before it was admitted to be a fraud. Piltdown, Piltdown. If you type in the Gematria Piltdown, you'll see it sums to 41, like how they used it. Piltdown also sums to 113, the number of dishonesty. But Piltdown was used for 41 years to prove evolution. And then they had to admit that it wasn't true. And the other thing about Piltdown Man is supposedly it was to prove that the oldest living human being was discovered in the United Kingdom. And it was used as proof that the white race was the oldest race on the planet and that white people were superior in intelligence because of that. So that was mainstream science that pushed that for 41 years. Piltdown Man is proof of evolution, proof that white people were superior, and all thrown out as a fraud. And look at science. I mean, just look at science over the years. It changes all the time, It changes all the time. So I don't know how science can be reliable to anyone, honestly. And realize I'm not against science. I mean, science is a real thing. It can be used to prove real things. I consider my research science. My research is all evidence-based, Science is a real thing, but the point I make is science from the authority. By the way, science equals 58, like government, or not, like Freemasonry, like secret society, like they. Science has that 58 gematria, like how NASA was established in 58. So science is a real thing, but science can be used to push fraud. just like spirituality is a real thing, but all sorts of religious spirituality is based in fraud and controlling people. And so ultimately, it's all the same thing: atheism, religion, you know. And the thing about people on the other side of the aisle in religion, they'll say, oh, atheists are evil because they don't believe in God. But that's also BS too. I mean, some people are just, they don't need to believe in God to be good. Some people just understand that as a human being, you have this natural self-regulating mechanism that tells you what's right and wrong and why you should treat other people with respect and dignity. I find that most religious folks are childish. They need to be treated like a little baby. They need a reward system. Oh, I'm going to believe in this because then I get to go to heaven. So it's like, oh, so you're going to be a good person because you get to go to heaven. That's your reason for being good. You're not going to be good just because it feels right and because it's right to treat other people kindly and with respect. And some people are probably watching saying, Zach, you're an asshole and you diss all sorts of people. But yeah, I am, especially when I'm on here ranting about things. But I'll tell you what, if you ever met me in person, I'm not an asshole. I help out everybody, even the people I can't stand. So, you can criticize me all you want for my rants on here and the things I say, and I wouldn't even disagree with you. I'd say, yeah, it may be flawed for me to speak this way and rant this way, and I do turn off certain people. But when I'm on here making my videos, I'm communicating what I know is going on in the world and the way I feel about things and how fed up I am with people. And that's probably never going to change. So sometimes people will leave a comment about something I said that made me feel bad. Like, for example, for years, I don't even want to say it out loud because that person's probably watching, and they said they felt like killing themselves after I said this thing. But okay, you guys know my history. Sometimes I'll use those words that were common in the 90s that definitely aren't politically correct anymore. 3-letter words, starts with F, second letter's A, the third letter's, like the letter under the Freemason compass. When I use those words, I understand. I don't care if people are homosexual, honestly. Like, I don't get the whole homosexuality thing, but I realize a lot of people are homosexual, especially living in a city like Seattle where we have entirely homosexual neighborhoods. But I don't care if people are homosexual. When I rant and use the 3-letter words that offend people, I'm not ranting against people who are specifically gay. So like the other day I had a young guy who was gay, and he said, I hurt him so bad because he liked my work and he didn't know I felt that way. And now he felt like killing himself. And I said, look, man, I don't care that you're gay. When I rant against these things with that word, I'm talking about the people who take it up their metaphorical ass from this Zionist cabal and who go along with it and defend it and who call people like me conspiracy theorists and idiots and losers when I'm exposing a real agenda and the way it's being orchestrated. So, I don't know if people can get that or not, but I grew up in the 90s. I mean, in the 90s, we threw that word around. If you were being a little punk or a little wimp or a little girl and sorry, ladies, I mean, that was the word we came. I don't even know if we understood what homosexuality was when we used that word, but that's just the word that we grew up with and we understood with, like, you don't want to be that thing. And again, you can't stereotype homosexual people. For example, I used to umpire in softball. Umpire softball is a side job. Actually pays decent money, and I don't mind it. You get out and you run around and you meet people and you have some fun, and you're out at the ballpark. Well, I did a good job in the Seattle area, so I'd pick up a lot of tournaments and stuff, and people would request to have me as their umpire. And this one guy who I never realized all this time was a homosexual, he asked if I would come work the annual gay tournament. And he said if I worked it, they'd pay me even more per game. And I was like, okay, I never worked the gay tournament before. So anyway, I worked the gay tournament, and it was interesting looking at all these men there. Some of them you would never know were gay men, right? Some are like big, tall lumberjacks with beards, and they look like the straightest guy you've ever seen. But then there's other guys who are, out there dressed in all pink and wearing like ballerina, what do you call the ballerina thing? A tutu. And, there's some guys who are flaming, and then there's some guys who you would just never know. But so, I mean, you can't really stereotype any group of people. And I don't even know how I got on this topic. Oh, just talking about how I rant and say things and offend people. And I don't mean to offend people, but I guess ultimately what I'm saying is I am the person that I grew up being. You know, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up with certain language. When I'm angry, certain words come out. I do feel like taking it up the ass is not a good thing. You know, I've seen gay guys in my comments say, but have you taken it up the ass? I'm like, dude, I don't want to take it up the ass. Even if it feels good, I still don't want to take it up the ass. So I think everyone can understand my speech when I'm speaking about the people who just put up with the Zionist cabal. And understand the Zionist cabal is obsessed with anal sex and raping us, the goyim. So that's what I'm speaking to. Not if you're a homosexual. I could care less, honestly. All right. So going back to the chat, somebody says, I would highly appreciate it if you could decode Kwame Raoul. He mentioned in a commercial that his dad died on November 6th, and he took over Obama's seat November 6th, and that is our election date this year. Okay, I don't know who Kwame Raoul is, so I'm going to have to look into this. All right. I'll have to look into that. Thank you for the heads up. Somebody says, how come I called the police the please? I didn't realize I ever called them that. Police. That's how I pronounce it. I guess you guys go more police. The police. I don't like the way that sounds. It's just like how I say Gematria. That's how you're not supposed to say it either. It's Gematria or Gematria. But I like Gematria. Sounds way better to me. All right, I'm just trying to go back through the comments here, seeing if I missed anything when I was talking. Chigozi says I'm not an asshole, but you guys, trust me, I know that I'm an asshole. I'm usually not an asshole, but there's definitely an asshole side of me. When people piss me off, I know how to act like an asshole. So, comes with being fed up. Somebody said most people are childish, Zach. That was a weak argument. I can't even remember what argument I was making. So, I'm sure you had a point, but I don't remember. I don't understand your question about the Highway 101 on August 11, 2019. Yeah, I've seen Judy Wood's work. Judy Wood's into energy weapons. She thinks 9/11 was an energy weapon. I think they planted the bombs there after the 93 World Trade Center bombing when they finished 50 years of underground testing that was named the Manhattan Project, where the World Trade Centers were in Manhattan. They might have energy weapons too. They might have used all sorts of things that day. So I don't know. Somebody wrote, toothpaste, deodorant, lotions are to feminize men. That's an interesting theory. You know, people used to brush their teeth with baking powder. Hey, if you guys have yellow teeth, I'll tell you a good way to make your teeth a lot whiter. If you look at your teeth and you're like, damn, my teeth are yellow, I'll tell you a good way to make your teeth a lot whiter right now. Put in here, I got to see myself on the camera, make sure I come over. Oh, I'm on delay. I don't know if like this is behind where I'm at, but anyway, there's my hand. The if you put take a cup and put this much water in, and then take about a third as much water and put in hydrogen peroxide, and then put in like a big fat tablespoon of baking soda, and then like a tinier amount of salt, and swish that around, and then brush your teeth with it. Brush your teeth real good. Brush them real good. Brush for and keep spitting out because it's going to be like salty and powdery. So you're going to want to keep spitting out. But you brush your teeth real good for like 3 minutes. You'll see. Your teeth will be much whiter. I haven't done that for a couple months. If I did that, my teeth would get a lot whiter. How did we even just talking about that? Oh yeah, somebody said that those things were to feminize men. My mom never let me wear deodorant. She said that was cancer causing. So I'll tell you what though, not wearing deodorant once you start to get like hair in your armpits and you're playing sports and stuff, you can really stink. But it also depends on what you eat. If you eat a toxic diet, you'll smell worse. If you eat a cleaner diet, you won't smell as bad. But as I got older, I have a bottle. I have some deodorant. I only use it like when I go out and do something athletic and I'm around other people. I don't want to be grossing people out with the nasty armpit smell. But for the most part, I don't really have any body odor. Unless I work up a big sweat, then I stink. But yeah, I think deodorant, it does clog your pores. I don't know if it feminizes you, but probably not good to have all those pores clogged underneath and whatever chemicals they're putting in that stuff. I still haven't looked into the Venom movie. I remembered that, but you're just saying look at the movie poster. Venom movie poster. I noticed when they kept playing the advertisement on TV for this movie, it had the Eminem song in the background. Oh, I see the bridge there. They had the Eminem song for the movie, and then the lyrics, it's knock, knock, let the devil in. And it's just like, don't we think about all this stuff as a society? I mean, even if you're not religious, it's like, do I want to knock, knock, let the devil in? That doesn't sound right. So yeah, there it is, the Golden Gate Bridge. I don't know what happens in the movie. So you have to check it out. Yeah, it's true. I saw Chigozi's comment for a skip. No matter what you do, you'll always offend people. Yeah, you can't make everybody happy. That's for sure. But I don't know. I got to figure out how to reach these sheep. They need the message. Deodorants made with aluminum. Yeah, I realize there's all sorts of heavy metals and all sorts of products they give us. I mean, toothpaste has all the fluoride in the toothpaste comes from the aluminum industry for the most part. It was an aluminum doctor scientist for the industry who advocated to put fluoride in our water. Fluoride, the byproduct of all of this metal production. Somebody said you don't need to put salt in the toothpaste mix, but if you put on the salt, it scrubs. You got to get I should have made that point about the salt. You have to get the bigger chunks of salt. You need the bigger chunks because you don't want to do it too hard on your gums because it can ruin your gums, but it'll get all the stain out of your teeth in the little grooves. So don't use regular salt. You need the bigger, coarser salt. That was an important point I forgot to make. No, it won't deteriorate your teeth. It's fine, man. It won't. You don't want to do it all the time, but just do it like every few months. Your teeth will be way whiter. Yeah, fluoride was another thing that my mom was opposed to. We're from Portland. Portland doesn't have fluoride in the drinking water, so people in Portland know about fluoride. But when I was growing up, when I went to the dentist, my mom would never let him give me the fluoride treatment. What would I do for a Klondike bar? Nothing. I don't want any Klondike bars. Somebody said they know I'm a vegan vegetarian, so why don't I ever talk about it? Well, I must talk about it if you know.
I'm actually a pescatarian. I was vegan and vegetarian for a lot of years. Now I eat fish probably twice a month. I get some fish in my diet. Hey, Ben Krupa says, bummer, just noticed you were live, Zach. Hey, Ben Krupa, I noticed something you said to a shill yesterday. You called them the living messiah, and I thought, poor Ben Krupa. He thinks this guy, this shill, is the living messiah, the guy who was just advocating for Donald Trump less than a year ago and in Alex Jones' pocket. I was like, man, to make Ben Krupa think you're the messiah, you don't have to do much. You can just wake up yesterday and all of a sudden you're the messiah. I thought, man, Ben Krupa, you got a lot to learn, dude. That guy doesn't know anything. Max Spears, another dude who died by the numbers. I never heard of Max Spears before he died. Wasn't really into his work. Didn't seem legit to me. Vera says, happy to know you have healthy lifestyle. Yeah, I mean, you are what you eat. That made sense to me as a child. I mean, how could you not be what you ate? So speaking of the three-letter words, everybody used to call me everyone used to call me a G and an F because of what I did when I was a teenager. When I was a teenager, that's when I first started to research food, and I totally cut red meat out of my diet. That was the first big thing I did. I was probably like 15 years old. So, you know, I was the youngest person out of my group of friends, so I was the last person to be able to drive. And I don't know if high school was like you, but you could go out to lunch. We'd go out to lunch, and like every day, everybody wanted to go to fast food. So if we went to these fast food places, I'd always buy a salad there. And they'd be like, oh, look at Zach with his F diet, you know, the three-letter word. And I'd be like, just wait until we get older. Just wait until we get older. We'll see what we're looking like. And what's funny is I wish we could all get together right now, all older. All of my friends are fatter than me. Most of them are missing their hair, you know. So I'll tell you what, you are what you eat. And what else is funny is my brother-in-law, who is a doctor, he used to call my diet the F diet, you know. He's 20 years older than me. But for about 8 years now, he's been eating vegan because he had all these health problems. And he finally did enough research and realized he needed to start eating a plant-based diet, and he's been a lot better ever since it. Ben Krupa said that they were actually joking yesterday. Well, there wasn't any indication that there was sarcasm in your comment. I just saw it scroll across the screen when I was peeking in. And it said, you're the living messiah. So, I mean, I don't know who would have ever known you were joking. You should have left a comment like, dude, why do you think the news is real? Why are you talking about news like it's real? Why are you only associating with shills? How did you know how to get out of Gaza the day before they bombed it? Those would have been good comments to leave. Not, hey, man, you're the messiah. Because there was no indication that you were being sarcastic. Looked like you were like the rest of his sheepish followers. But I believe you that it was sarcasm. I'm just saying, if you're going to use sarcasm on the internet, you can't just leave a comment like, you're the living messiah. People are going to think that you think that. What is the message for sheep? Well, you must be new here asking me that. I mean, I put out the message every day. And at the beginning of this thing, before we switched topics, I was talking about the message very clearly. So Dash the Kid writes, Zach, you do know that fish live in our polluted waters. Absolutely, I know that. And there's a lot of mercury in the water. So there's a lot of mercury in the fish. And really the reason I started probably eating fish, honestly, is because my lady, when I first met her, she wasn't vegetarian at all. And she's found that she can handle just eating an all-vegetable diet if she has a little bit of fish in it. So the fish is mostly to be agreeable with her. I could live completely without the fish if it was just me. So, and I could live without the fish even if it was just me and her. But she likes to eat together and have the same meal. That's part of being in a relationship, and it's nice to eat together and share the same food. So, what are some meals I eat? Well, I eat a lot of vegetables. So, I mean, in our fridge, there's always, and freezer, because we have frozen vegetables too, there's always a lot of spinach, kale, broccoli. So we mix that in with most things. My lady's Asian. She loves rice. So I wish I could get her to eat brown rice. She hates brown rice. So we eat mostly jasmine rice. But we always have rice and vegetables for the most part. Rice, mixed vegetables with some potatoes, carrots, cauliflower, peas, tomatoes. We eat a lot of tomatoes. Uh, just always a mix of vegetables. I mean, and what's nice is she knows how to cook and mix different flavors. So even though our dishes are made up of a lot of the same things, they'll have a totally different flavoring. So, flavor makes a big difference. Different spices on this day. And I mean, the other day I showed my plate of food and it was a plate of rice and vegetables. So most of our food comes back to that, rice and vegetables. We eat a lot of rice and vegetables, I guess I could say. In the morning, I'll eat oatmeal, put some blueberries in it. In the summer, when it's warm, I don't like to eat it so much in the cooler months because it makes me freeze in the morning. But in the summer, I juice a lot. I mix fruits and vegetables together. So I do a lot of juicing in the warmer months. Eat a lot of beans. Yeah, we eat quinoa. We eat a lot of quinoa too. Is Fukushima a lie? Well, that happened on an 11/3 date, the big lie date. It was reactor 4, just like Chernobyl. Here in the West Coast, I live on the West Coast. I remember when it happened, the news media was telling us that we all needed to go out and get potassium iodide tablets to take it to protect ourselves from the radiation. And I remember this girl that I worked with then, she was just freaking out. She's like, "Have you got your potassium iodide?" I was like, "I don't know if I want to take that." And now I look at potassium iodide. It's abbreviated K9. K is the 11th letter. So I'm even looking at that. I'm like, oh, 11-9. Huh? They want us to take our 11-9 pills. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's exaggerated, if it's a total lie. It seems that the what's been stated about the fallout from radiation, it seems that it's overstated. Because if you look at how many times nuclear atomic bombs have been detonated in this world, and some people say they're a complete hoax, but I have no doubt that they have deadly explosives that they've developed through military research. But however many times these big bombs have been detonated in the world that are supposed to have all this radiation, it seems like we should all be suffering a lot more based on what we've been told. But then in that same breath, I mean, you think about all the new disease and illness in the world, especially to people who are most susceptible, like young children and elderly. So it's just hard to say. We live in a world of lies, and it's hard to know what's what. All this, overstated fear, and it's hard to know. But that's why I just decided a long time ago that living in a toxic world, the best way you can protect yourself is to eat a clean diet. And the thing is, if you research food, if you eat foods that are plant-based foods are cleaners. They clean out the toxins of your body. Things like dairy, the foods that taste good, the rich, hearty foods, meat, that stuff doesn't clean out your body. That stuff gets stuck in your body, and it absorbs the chemicals and helps them stay stuck in there. So, just think about it in terms of a car. If you use high grade oils, higher performance fuel, it cleans, it keeps your car running longer. It's the same thing with the human body. So these are all the reasons I decided to eat a plant-based diet when I was a teenager. And I started making steps about the time I was 15. And I got made fun of by all my friends, but I wish we could all stand next to each other now. We'll see who's looking the best. Do I think the ISS will crash on Earth? That would be a story, wouldn't it? You just never know what they got planned for us. I mean, anything's possible. Do I still smoke weed? Well, I just smoked some this weekend for the first time in a long time. It was funny. Somebody called me up and they're like, "What's different with you today? You sound happier." And I said, "Do I?" I said, "You don't want to know what's up?" I said, "I just smoked some weed today for the first time in a long time." And they laughed. So I said, maybe it's the weed. Yeah, I don't get the flu shot. I don't want to be injected with any of these things from the pharmaceutical industry. Drink water from copper cups. I've heard that before. I should do that. I've heard that's a good thing. Gets some healthy metals in your body. Ezra says Galen Windsor, nuclear physicist, debunked radiation in the 80s. Yeah, I've seen all this information, but it's like, how do you decide what's real and what's not in a world of misinformation, in a world of info wars? So I maintain skepticism about all things. And as someone who's a lifelong skeptic of all things and who's gone full board on Gematria, the whole reason that's true is because it's evidence based, it's logic based. You know, it's like, okay, here's the group of people. Okay. So, I mean, just think about how logical Gematria is. If you understand that it's a Zionist cabal running the show, and you understand that Kabbalah is a Jewish thing, and Gematria comes from Kabbalah, which is a Jewish thing, and then you start documenting like I did for 5 years straight, and you realize the same repetitive patterns happen again and again and again, isn't that logic based? Isn't that evidence based? Isn't that a pattern you can follow and prove? I mean, for some people, no matter how many times you show them, it just doesn't register. But I would guess that most of the people who aren't into Gematria are people who also don't acknowledge the Zionist agenda, who don't have a clue about most things, who think all conspiracies theory and conspiracies never happen. But then there's other people, like people running the GDL, the Goyim Defense League. Do you guys want to see something about the GDL? I have all sorts of suspicions about the GDL. Somebody just pointed out to me that Handsome Truth, who I thought was an all right guy, was a guy who's been in some Hollywood productions. I was like, really? No wonder he's always wearing those big fat sunglasses. But I just couldn't help but notice this about GDL. It has this 58 number, which is the big, Zionist, Freemasonry, Solomon's Temple, all that number. And then I started to think, who's advocating the GDL? No More News, which equals 58, just like GDL. You know, that stood out to me. And then I was like, man, even this Handsome Truth guy who I was trying to believe in equals 58. Here's your two big GDL guys, the front runners of it, and they all got the coding. And then I find out that Handsome Truth was working for Hollywood, which is controlled by Freemasonry. So, you know, things start to look real suspicious over there at the GDL camp, because you got No More News guy dissing this work. You know, how's a guy who just figured out that Alex Jones is a shill and who supported Donald Trump going to act like he knows more about this agenda than someone like me who's been exposing it for 5 years straight and who's been onto it since September 11, 2001? You know, guy who all of a sudden just out of nowhere has every shill in the community connected with him. No, realize No More News got Ken O'Keefe to come on and do an interview. And a lot of you guys like Ken O'Keefe. I see right through Ken O'Keefe. He's not legit. I don't trust anybody with a tattoo on their face. But, you know, I've reached out to Ken O'Keefe. And part of the reason I don't believe in this guy is because I've reached out to him and tried to get him on my radio show and to connect and help promote my work. He doesn't respond to anything. But then he wants to link up with this guy who just woke up the other day. None of this makes any sense. This looks like a controlled opposition movement to take the people trying to expose Zionism and then lead them in the wrong direction. Lead them to all the shield channels, you know, dismiss Gematria. So it's like, nah, GDL looks like it's a Goyim trap. Golden Tate was just traded. Didn't Jeremy, our brilliant sports decoder, just predict that? Going to the Patriots. I love it. I love it. And the Seahawks and Lions just played, that the two teams that Golden Tate just played for. Hey, you guys, you know what? I just did the diss on face tattoos. You know what? You might have a face tattoo out there, and maybe you're a totally legit person. I know a legit person in the world that actually has a face tattoo, but this same person this person disowned me after my house got burglarized because they literally wanted to murder my neighbor for me. And then after I told them that they couldn't murder my neighbor, they were like, well, let me cut their brake line. Let me fuck up their house. Let me burn their fucking house to the ground. I was like, no, man, because all of that's going to come back on me. And he got so mad at me that I wouldn't let him do any of this stuff to my neighbor who was in on the burglary in my house that he just stopped talking to me. He thought I was a pussy. But, sometimes you need the people with the face tattoos. Like, I need that guy to go to war with me in Washington, D.C. I didn't need him to kill my neighbor because that was just going to mess things up. But he was an authentic person, maybe a little bit crazy, but he could have been useful for some things. So. Some people say they love my honesty. Some people hate it. And you can't please everybody. I appreciate the people in the chat saying hit the like button. Even though Handsome Truth might be a shill and not here for the right reasons, I still kind of like his presentation style. I still kind of like it. I can't help it. It's probably why they hired him. He's just a likable guy. So, but yeah, this whole GDL thing, it's looking mad suspect. And I noticed that this Adam Green, he won't respond to me at all. He won't touch any of my comments. It seems that he only responds to people in his super chat when they give him money. So, Adam Green, greener than green. I got to get on TV or public radio. Yeah, that would make the difference. Hey, speaking of which, you guys, here's what I want to do. Let me see if my Patreon's continuing to go down. We were supposed to get to 950 so I could take this to the next thing. So we were just hardly away from 950. When this gets up to 950, I'm starting the daily podcast, and I need you guys to stay with it to keep this level of funding, because if this level of funding stays, realize this number just went way up this month. Last month it was at $2,000, so we're way up this month. I got to see if this is sustained. If this is sustained and this stays, then I have money. Oh, shit. You guys can't see the screen right now, can you? What are you looking at? You're looking at me. Let me go back to the desktop so you can see what I'm talking about here. You see this money here? This is how much my revenue is on Patreon right now. And this is just this month. I've never had this much deposited for a month. Last month, I got a $2,000 deposit. It's way up this month. People are signing off, though, at the end of the month. We were just like $5 shy of $6,000 2 days ago. So we're down from 2 days ago. It's okay. But if this level of revenue stays consistently, then I'll have money that I know I can do things with, like travel to places and make documentaries live on the street. And I feel if I start making noise in public where these things go down, then I might get the kind of traction to get on the radio or get on the TV. Because I feel that I have to do more to reach out to a bigger audience. This revenue on this page is what's going to do it. If all of you came here and signed up for $1 a month, then I could start doing my work just daily on here and broadcast you anyway. You'd all be pledging $1 a month. Imagine if all 20-some thousand of you were here. There'd be 20-some thousand revenue a month. Do you know what I'd do with that? I'd go out and hire 3 people right away, at least, and get us some sort of permanent location so we can have like an actual Gematria news secretary, an office with a secretary. We can become like the Gematria News not-for-profit news network institute, something like that. Because this is what we need to do to get this work out on a bigger level. We need to be more official, but that takes resources in this world. Understand, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not trying to get rich off promoting Gematria or the truth or exposing Zionism. I'm trying to take this to the next level. I've been here for 5 years doing this for free every single day, 7 days a week. Show me anybody else in the world who ever works 7 days a week, all hours of the day for free. I ran out of money. The only reason I could do that is because I had money saved up to do it. And I had low expenses because I'm smart with budgeting. Anyway, ran out of money. We got to get this to another level. It takes resources. What I want to do is start, again, hiring people, create a real news agency, and start traveling to places where these things go down. Like I want to be in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood right now, and I'm thinking about doing it. I've been talking to my lady, and I'm trying to warm her up to the idea and the reason why to spread the work. She likes seeing the successful revenue. It's getting her believing in the work more, that there's actual people out there willing to support. But anyway, if this money stays sustained, if it grows, then I'll be able to know. I can travel, I can start making documentaries. And with that said, something I really want to do right now is go to Pittsburgh and go to this mayor's office and go to the police station and go to the Tree of Life synagogue and interview people and talk to people in the community and what they saw. And, you know, go to the hospital, supposedly where the victims were. I want to talk to doctors. I want to explain to people that, look, there's a lot of us in this nation who are awake. I don't know why I have golden tape up on the screen. And are curious and are suspicious of what's being reported. And I want to put together some real documentaries that get to the bottom of things, because I know that we need to get to the bottom of this matter. And that said, I want to call the Pittsburgh mayor's office. It's his birthday today. So give me a minute, because I realize my phone's not right here. So I'll be right back with my phone. Hold on. I just got my phone. I realized I've sold two books during this presentation. So that would pay for about a third of a ride to the airport on Uber. That's not going to get us real far. But let's see here. We're going to call the mayor's office, 412-255-2626. And hold on, before I call, I just got to get up my notes here in case we get far enough to have a conversation. Got to make sure my mayor notes are fresh. We know it's his birthday. Where's that mayor who's rejecting Trump today by the numbers? All right, here we go. Bill Peduto. All right. I'm going to call them and ask if I traveled there, if I could have a meeting with the mayor to talk about the shooting. So if I can set up an appointment, I'll tell you what, you guys, if this conversation goes as well as I want it to, I'll fly out here to meet with the mayor. So hold on here.
Afternoon, Officer Mayor William Peduto. Please hold on.
Okay.
Thanks for holding. We appreciate your time and patience. Please stay on the line and we'll be back in just a moment.
I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I'm on hold right now. It's not very loud.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line, and we'll be right back with you.
Thanks for holding. How can I help you?
Yes, I wanted to wish the mayor a happy birthday. Is today his birthday?
Okay, and I can take that comment for sure.
Sure. The other thing was I was just wondering if I traveled to your town. I'm on the other side of the nation, but I'd like to come to Pittsburgh in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood to put together a film about what's taken place, a small documentary to educate people about what's going on in this nation. And I was wondering if there's a way I could schedule an appointment to meet with the mayor.
His scheduler's email address. You want to send that to his scheduler. I'll give you that information, and then you can put the nature of your, the reason why you want to meet with them, and she'll respond. And let me know when you're ready.
Sure. I'm getting out my notepad here so I can write down his email address.
Sure.
Okay. What's the email?
It's Caitlin, K-A-I.
Say, wait.
Caitlin.
How do you spell Kaylin again?
Kaitlyn. Caitlin dot, and then it's Pendrak. It's spelled Penbrak at Pittsburgh, PA, and Pittsburgh is spelled out PA, all one word.
Pittsburgh, PA.gov. Okay, so let me make sure I got it right here. Caitlin dot Pendrak at PittsburghPA.gov.
Yes, and she'll respond.
Okay, and do you know how?
Hold on, please. I have to get another line.
Okay.
Thank you for waiting. Your patience is appreciated. Please hold the line and we'll be right back with you.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, do you know what the time frame is for her getting
Well,
back?
with all that's going on in the city, sir, I do not know, but that would be who you would email, and she does all the scheduling, and she would respond. So that's
Okay.
going to be where you want to start.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
All right, you take care. Bye. Well, it's just so hard to get anything done at this day and age. I mean, it's like I just already know how this is going to go. I'll send an email here and see, but I imagine I'll have to wait days, and then, you probably got to wait like 2 months to talk to him, and then by then in the United States, amnesia, nobody remembers anything anymore. So that's why it's better to just show up there with the camera crew and bust in the office, get some answers. But anyway, I'll send this email here. Let's just see. Hello, Caitlin. I am interested in meeting with the mayor to discuss the events of the shooting on October 27th, 2018. I am a radio host on TFR Live, the host of the Gematria Effect, and would like to put together a small documentary about the events of October 27th, 2018. Please get back to me. Thank you, Zachary Greenblatt. Not. All right. Let's see. All right. Who was that officer there? KK officer KK? I would like to talk to him too. He's probably not available either. Let's see. Tree of Life Synagogue. I got to look up that officer's name. Kevin something. KK initials. This is what I remember. Let's see. I thought I had it there. Oh, Kevin Krause. I did have it there. Deputy Kevin Krause. I don't even know if it's worth trying to call the police department. You could never get through to these people. It's like they don't even exist. Just done this too many times, already know. Anyway, you guys, if they get back to me on that email and I really can get a meeting with the mayor, I'm going to go there. So let's see. War Mentality says he'll be a great cameraman. We got somebody that's in the Pennsylvania area already who can help out. Anybody want to travel there with me? If it's going on, I'll let you know when it's going on, the dates I'm going to be there. Happy to meet up with people. Yeah, a lot of people tell me that they go and they share my work in other forums, other chats, and they get banned. It's just like, wow, you can't even share this work. People will just ban you. You'd love to work for me. That's what you think now. So, yeah, well, tell you what, if the books ever sell like they're supposed to, we'll have the resources to do it. So, the books aren't selling like they're supposed to, though. I'm being laughed at right now by the publisher who I said I'd have 10,000 sales in no time. You know, it's over 6 months later and we barely have 4,000 sales. So, I don't know what to say. Well, I'll tell you what, if I ever have the resources, I'll be letting you guys know where to send the applications. I got to find people who are down to work as hard as I am. Because that's the thing, when you work for me, I'm looking for people who work as hard as me. Zenith. Whitey Bulger. The gangster? Hold on. You must have posted something before that. Whitey Bulger, born September 3rd. Zenith had a great observation about the World Series, you guys. Go out and check Zenith's work about the subtle racial story. The baseball player connecting the Red Sox and Dodgers. War Mentality says they're going to buy the book again. I'm pretty convinced that the book sales so far, I'm pretty sure that like half of the book sales are repeat buyers, which is also discouraging. I mean, I appreciate that you guys are going out and buying it multiple times, but I'm just like, what's wrong with everybody else? It's like, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. The book's back up to $9.99. I told you guys if you guys did 20 sales by that time period, I would keep it at $5 for the rest of the week to see how it went. And instead of 20 sales, we did 4 more sales. So we came 16 short of the goal. I've covered Ray Caruth about 5 times in the last 2 weeks. So I'm not doing Ray Caruth for the 6th time. Joe Johnson just paid to get their book printed. Thanks for doing that, Joe. It's going to be a worthy investment in the future. "20 finance ministry officials in the Lion Air plane crash." Well, there you go. It sounds like a modern-day Titanic, and they coded the Bavarian Illuminati numbers all over it. Yeah, too many important people in one plane. Somebody says they'd buy the book for $5. They said if it was $5, they're in. Well, yesterday you should have been here. Yesterday I had the $5 sale. It was $5 for 6 months. You could have been in for 6 months. If life-changing knowledge isn't worth $9.99 to you, I guess you're too cheap for the truth. So I don't know what to say. Raise it to $29.99? I don't know. Raising it from $5 to $10 hasn't helped it sell more. I have a feeling if I raise it to $29.99, it'll sell even worse. I see we got a spammer in the chat. I'm just gonna. I don't even like it. I hate comments like this. So adios, Ray. Ray is gone. Ray with 1,000,007s, obvious spam channel. I just hate when people come start posting. All you need to know is Jesus. Really? That's all you need to know, huh? That's all you need to know is Jesus. I don't think so. I think there's a cabal that wants you to wait on your knees and fold your hands and keep waiting while they rule over you for your entire life. I think there's a lot of people who went to the grave waiting for Jesus while the world went to shit. Pretty sure that's the case. Also pretty sure his name's not Jesus. It was Yeshua. Pretty sure Jesus has the same gematria as Masonic, as Jewish. Big number of the Cabal. Well, so the reason that I didn't worry about page numbers in the book, which is something I could easily add, and I will in the printed version, is just because it's an electronic version, and when you open up a book in an electronic version, it tells you what page you're on. So I didn't think it was necessary to put it on the page as well. I mean, it wouldn't have been a big deal to do it, but I mean, you know, like if you open up the book, it's going to be just like this on no matter what device you use. But so, I mean, you can see what page you're on. But I could have added page numbers, but I just didn't think it was necessary as an electronic version because you know what page you're on. So, am I wrong about that? Bill Cooper, he's in my book. Bill Cooper's in my book. He died by the numbers, I'm pretty sure. And I have remarks about Bill Cooper in the book. So again, pick up the book. You guys will answer most of the questions you have for me. Bernice says, how do I sit so long without a bathroom break? Well, it's because I'm a guy, you know. Women have to go to the bathroom every hour. Guys go to the bathroom like once, twice a day. It's the difference between being a man and a woman. You know, you take your girl to the movie, she's probably going to have to go to the bathroom at least once during the movie. Guy will just sit through the whole thing. All right, you guys, got to go do some more work. I got to do some housework today. Some things need to get done around the house. And then we got Gematria School tonight. Gematria School every Tuesday night on Patreon. Starts at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. If you can't make it live, you can always listen after. Gematria School is a lot of fun. So it's the one Tuesday of the week where you can get in for just $1 a month. All Tuesdays, every Tuesday is $11 a month. Last Tuesday of the month's open to all Patreon members, which begins at $1 a month. So all I know is RV, they had him on that RT News, didn't they, too? The Russian TV news. Yeah, that's a good question. Well, someday I plan to have a local book signing when I actually have a book in print. You know, it's hard to sign an ebook. I can give you an ebook signature. I can like do my finger up through the air. But I guess if you printed out your book, I could sign it. But I thought I would have had a printed book by now. I thought a publisher would step up. I thought I'd have those 10,000 sales to go back to the publisher with who said I needed that number for them to be interested. And again, I mean, even if I get 10,000 now, I told them that I would have that in no time. So now they would be like, I thought you said you'd have this in no time. I thought you said your book would sell 10,000 copies in a week. I'll just have to shrug my shoulders and say, well, you know, I thought the people that I worked so hard for 5 years who never charged them nothing, never made them read a commercial, watch a commercial, I thought they'd come through for me, but they didn't. So, you know, people are cheap. Like I said, the Talmud, it's the truest text ever. It's the truest text ever. So. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. Hit that like button. Hopefully a few more, you can go out and get the book. We got 2 copies sold today, which means it'll be 5,000 more days. Well, I guess actually 3,000 more days before we hit the goal at this rate. So 3,000 more days. Will we make it? Who wants to see the world 3,000 days from now, you know? I feel bad for all the people buying it again. You guys are really great. You're generous, but we need all the people that just sit on their hands and who don't do anything to go out and buy it. Not the same people who've already bought it to buy it. So, all right, Gematria school tonight. Good time to try out. You can get in for $1 tonight. It's the bonus night. $11 a month gets you all the content. And again, if you want to know how to get into Gematria school, just before I go, you got to know this, I guess. If you go down to the description where it says support Patreon, if you click that, that'll take you to the page. And you can sign up here with the Become a Patron button. And about 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern, a window will pop up here for Gematria School. You just click the button, and then you're in. And then you can participate in the live chat, participate in tonight's discussion lesson, trying to get all of you guys caught up on Gematria so you can do it as well as me. And a lot of people already can. So it could be you. All right, all. Thanks for hanging around. Have a great day. Until next time.